So I was wondering how you do belt progressions in Estema and other martial arts when you don't have a system of martial arts like typical, like karate, where there's a belt and a system of moves that you have to learn.
Well, first of all, belt progression. It's a good background music.
Sometimes you can get stuck there.
The idea of belt progression presumes that there's a set curriculum.
Right.
So rather than thinking in progression terms, you want to think of a person transitioning from being a beginner to an advanced person. Mm-hmm. So you could define that as being steps,
yep.
But you might say there's 5 steps, I might say there's 10, you might say there's 3. I mean,
right.
Who's correct? Right. It really isn't steps. It's just it's a phasic thing, something that happens over time. Mm-hmm. So a student of mine years ago asked me, how can you tell the difference between a beginner and an advanced person? And I said that a beginner learns about principles through the acquisition and perfection of technique. Mm. And an advanced person creates technique through the application of learned principles.
Right.
So this is something that just begins to happen. It doesn't happen on a Thursday after you take a belt test.
Right.
See what I mean?
Got it.
So it's something that happens over time.
Ah, okay.
So does that answer your question?
Yeah, exactly. It's a maturing process,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. So the idea of belts would help. It helps people in the idea of the short term. I can go to the next step.
More of a goal,
but really to define it as you have to learn X, Y, and Z, I think that's a mistake because that precludes you from expanding your curriculum while you're teaching that individual.
Right.
Because you can't compare him to the next person, because the next person will have a slightly different curriculum as you expand your horizons and evolve your art.
Right.
You see what I mean? So the idea of a progression is faulty.
Yeah. And do the moves in the system bind you also? You were saying something about more of an intuitive, like you said, the difference of a master is he's creating the moves and he's not bound by it, the kind of template moves. Like, could you talk a bit about that?
Well, first of all, I don't like the word system.
Yeah.
I don't believe in system or style or method. All of those things are by definition a restriction of something. You're looking at only a set number of things, and that's our system.
Right.
But the system I might teach to Jesse would be different than the system I would teach to you. Right. And it would be different than the things I might do myself. Yeah. So you can't really say that there's a set system. I prefer the idea of let's learn how to fix a car. And each time a car comes in, it's not going to be exactly the same problem under the hood.
Right.
So we want to become experts with our tools, but we don't want to be restricted by the kinds of tools that we choose. We need to be able to bring many different things in because the problems are going to change and evolve over time. The vehicles are going to change, the technology is going to increase, and we need to be able to be with that and be advancing and evolving with it rather than trying to catch up.
Yes. Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the idea of a system is by its nature a fossilization, and you don't want to be fossilized.
Yes.
So I don't really believe in system per se.
It's like it's a boundary.
You're teaching art.
Yeah.
Art can't be fossilized. If it's fossilized, it's not art anymore.
Art is
alive.
In a way, right?
Yeah, art is alive, and it's going to be different for you and different for him. And the expression of it at the moment, in a combative situation, that expression is going to be unique to that moment. Yeah. So to have a system and try to impose a system on that relationship, precludes it from being a relationship. It's not a relationship anymore.
It's rigid. It's not fluid. Right?
Yeah, it's like me coming to a conversation with pre-rehearsed sentences.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I'm not conversing
kind
anymore.
of awkward.
Yeah, well, I would be an orator then. I might be a great speech maker.
Yes.
But I want to be a conversationalist as a martial artist, not a speech maker.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect sense. Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.